The #1 men's tennis player in the world, Carlos Alcaraz, suffered an injury when he tore a muscle in his left abdomen, and as a result he was unable to participate in the 2022 ATP Finals. He has since returned, and we will explore what he has to say about his comeback. Also, what should we expect in the rivalry between Jannik and Carlos Alcaraz in 2023? Watch this video to the end for all the details. First up, Novak Djokovic is humiliated by Carlos Alcaraz as the Big Four's 18-year reign comes to an end. Carlos Alcaraz has broken Novak Djokovic's record for the most ranking spots he has climbed to become the year-end #1 player. The young man rose 31 spots from where he began the year, embarrassing the previous mark of just 11 positions set by Djokovic in 2018. Alcaraz breaks the Big Four's 18-year monopoly on the final ranking by winning the year's top slot. During the ATP Finals, Rafael Nadal was disqualified from the race for the top spot, establishing Alcaraz as the year-end #1 for 2022. Alcaraz, who is 19 years old, becomes the first person since Andy Roddick in 2003 to finish the season atop the rankings, who is not Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer, or Andy Murray. The number of positions the US Open winner has ascended from the beginning of the year, when he was ranked down at number 32 in the world, is one of the records he has broken by securing the #1 ranking for the end of the season. Djokovic had previously held the record after moving up 11 ranks from number 12 to number 1 in 2018, but Alcaraz has now surpassed his mark by a whopping 20 slots. After winning the US Open in September, the 19-year-old became the youngest #1 in ATP history and is currently the youngest ever year-end #1. He began the year by winning the ATP 500 in Rio, before inspiring his first Masters 1000 audience in Miami. He has had a tremendous breakout season, and only a few weeks later, he was able to replicate the feat, capturing back-to-back titles at the Madrid Masters 1000 and the ATP 500 in Barcelona before winning the sport's most prestigious trophy, the Grand Slam, in Flushing Meadows 3 months ago. He also made history by being the first teenager since Nadal in 2005 to win a major trophy by winning the US Open. Alcaraz, however, was unable to compete for the top spot at the end of the year after tearing an ab muscle against Holger Rune in the quarterfinal of the Paris Masters. After dropping the first set, Alcaraz retired from the match during the second set tiebreak. The injury caused him to prematurely conclude his season. Therefore, he withdrew from the ATP Finals and Davis Cup Finals. Up next, who is more impressive at age 19 between Alcaraz and Nadal? The Spanish tennis heir has come. Rafael Nadal has dominated tennis in Spain on the international stage for more than 15 years, but it appears that his challenger is poised to usurp the kingdom. Alcaraz is undoubtedly his inevitable heir. As many have correctly noted, Nadal is the only Spaniard to have won a Grand Slam since 2003. It's not surprising that some have begun to contrast the two players. Although Alcaraz has had a tremendously impressive start to his tennis career, it is impossible to tell whether he will ever reach Nadal's dizzying heights. With 22 Grand Slam victories under his belt, Nadal presently holds more Grand Slam championships than both Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic combined. He is the most decorated player in history. The tennis player that has won the Roland Garros tournament the most times in history, he won it twice, the Australian Open once, Wimbledon once, and the US Open 4 times. Having said that, perhaps drawing comparisons between the 19-year-old Carlos Alcaraz and Rafa Nadal can shed some light on the tennis player from Murcia's trajectory and determine whether he has a chance to overtake his compatriot. Up next, the world's youngest ever #1. Alcaraz, 19 years, 4 months, and 6 days old, is now the youngest to hold the top spot in history. That puts him considerably younger than Nadal was when he first attained the top spot in the globe. In actuality, the two are separated by 3 years. At 22 years, 2 months, and 15 days old, Nadal was ranked as the world's top player. Alcaraz is superior to the 19-year-old Nadal in this regard. But in the case of Nadal, we also need to consider that he dethroned Roger Federer, who was at the height of his powers at the time, to claim the top spot. It's debatable whether Alcaraz's current competitors are as strong as Federer was at the time for this position. While Alcaraz is currently the youngest player to hold the top spot in the global rankings, Nadal was the youngest player to ever rank in the top 100 in 2003 at the age of just 17. In addition, he broke the German Boris Becker's record for youngest player to go to the third round at Wimbledon that year. year. Only Andre Agassi and Nadal have ever won all 4 Grand Slam tournaments and the gold medal at the Olympic Games. This makes Nadal the youngest male tennis player in history to complete the Golden Slam. Up next, 19, the magic number. Rafael Nadal made his grand entrance onto the world tennis stage in 2005 when he was just 19 years old. That year, he enjoyed a fantastic season that was rounded off by his first Grand Slam triumph. At the age of 19 years and 2 days, he won Roland Garros on Sunday, June 5, 2005, defeating Argentina's Mariano Puerta in the final with scores of 6-7, 6-3, 6-1, and 7-5. He was the 4th youngest player in history to accomplish this achievement. In addition, he joined Mats Wilander as the only player to win Roland Garros in their debut in the competition. Nadal could only advance to the 3rd round of the 2005 US Open, which Alcaraz has recently won after falling to James Blake 4-6, 6-4, 3-6, and 1-6. Up next, Carlos Alcaraz comments on his return. Prior to the 2023 season, Carlos Alcaraz has reaffirmed that he is in excellent health. Alcaraz was suffering knee and stomach problems before the end of the 2022 season. Alcaraz had a ticket to the ATP Finals for a long time, but due to an abdominal ailment, he was unable to compete in the renowned season-ending competition this year. Alcaraz played at the Mubadala World Tennis Championship. Alcaraz lost his opening match in straight sets to Andrei Rublev, who defeated the Spaniard 6-2, 6-1. Alcaraz lost once more in the 3rd-place match as Casper Ruud upset the Spaniard 6-1, 6-4. He said that he was finally feeling okay. He had a month to recover his abs fully, and at the moment he feels almost completely normal. He said he's been exercising routinely throughout the past week. He said this year would be a little different for him in terms of having a target on his back from everyone, so he needs to be ready for that. He said he's going to make an effort to conclude 2023 in the same place that he is now. Alcaraz stated it would be a long year, but he will undoubtedly have fun. Alcaraz acknowledged his performance this year favorably shocked him once his 2022 season was over. Prior to the 2022 season beginning, Alcaraz made it known that his objectives for the year are to place inside the top 15 and qualify for the ATP Finals. Alcaraz eventually achieved success by winning a Grand Slam, 2 Masters championships, and becoming the sport's youngest #1 player. Alcaraz will undoubtedly be very driven in 2023 to accomplish even more fantastic things. The first major objective for Alcaraz in 2023 will be to win the Australian Open. Alcaraz advanced to the 3rd round of the Australian Open earlier this year, but was defeated by Matteo Berrettini in 5 sets. Up next, Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz rivalry will explode in 2023. Following their confrontations in 2022, could Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz rivalry flare up in 2023? One of the biggest rivalries of the season arises between London, Umag, and New York, specifically between the Spaniards and the Italians. Since the beginning of the year, the two have been mentioned as the next gen's faces and as candidates to carry on the traditions of those who came before them. Their shared destiny of winning the Grand Slam and rising to the top of the world is what drives their rivalry, and the Spaniard, unlike Sinner, has succeeded in both. But the Italian battled a physical issue that didn't help him at all. A rivalry that, at least for this year, has produced 3 spectacular matches on 3 separate occasions. At Wimbledon, the round of 16 was where it all began. Sinner controls the match from the opening exchanges and earns match points in the 3rd set tiebreak. After canceling the first, Alcaraz decides he likes it and cancels the second, taking the 3rd set. However, the Italian #1 regains his composure in the 4th, and although still having match points deducted, wins their first challenge of 2022. A few weeks after their match at Wimbledon, Sinner and Alcaraz fight each other for the Umag Trophy when the competition's level decreases to an ATP 250. Different story, same resolution. Sinner wins once more, but this time he must return. He actually loses the first set in a tiebreaker but wins the next 2, giving the Spaniard a 6-1 victory. There is a challenge in the US Open quarterfinals to put an end to this rivalry, which will likely shape tennis's future but has already roiled the game in the present. A tremendous encounter that arguably best represents their battle more than any other in terms of intensity and tennis skill level, and perhaps even the 2 different seasons. Alcaraz exacts revenge in New York though, as Sinner still has match points in the 4th set, which would advance him to the semifinal of a Grand Slam for the first time. The 2003 class, on the other hand, learns from his errors this time, canceling the match point and taking the break to force the match into a 5th set. The two give themselves to the opponent in this final half as well, since they are worn out from the exertion of the preceding exchanges. Alcaraz loses his serve, and Sinner quickly follows him. However, only the Italian gives up, losing his chance to serve. Spanish talent wins first Grand Slam trophy and #1 ranking despite lacking the necessary resources this time around. Now that Alcaraz is back, we expect his gradual return to form that has placed him at #1. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye!